Hi everyone and happy holidays. My thoughts are with those who are struggling to survive the holidays with their family right now. I don't care for the holidays personally, but I'm at least fortunate enough that I don't have to survive them with my family this year. One reason why I don't like the holidays is because of the New Year. New Year's is actually a really depressing time for me because it forces me to reflect back on my failures over the past year and to think about the potential failures of the coming year. And yeah, I know that's me being really negative. What can I say? I'm really negative when it comes to thinking or talking about myself. But yeah, I try to be positive, I'm just not that good at it. Anyway, when I think back on the year 2014, it actually wasn't that bad of a year. It's just that nothing really happened. In terms of my transition, the only thing that I've done this year is decide on a name, start using it, and I was outed to my mom. So yeah, 2014 has been a very static year. It's been a year of me wanting change steadily more and more over the year, but still nothing happening. And I feel like 2015 is going to be a repeat of this year, and that's not exactly a good thing. In fact, this video is going to be me thinking aloud about my plans for transitioning, both medically and socially, but all the stuff that I talk about, none of it is even going to be happening in 2015. I'm thinking more like 2017 because until then I'm going to be in Japan at this job that won't let me do anything. So yeah, in the meantime, all I can do is think and talk about shit without actually doing anything. And so this video is just going to be me thinking aloud, I guess. Also, before I get started, I want to point out that yes, I will be using quotes whenever I talk about transition or transitioning in regards to myself. I've said this before in a past video, a really old video, so it's worth saying again, that I personally do not ID as trans or transgender. And similarly, I don't like using the term transition when talking about myself in the journey that I'm going through. As a linguistics major, I can't help but get hung up on the fact that the word trans in and of itself encompasses movement. It is all about change. It's all about direction. It's about crossing from one thing to another, crossing from one side to another, change. And I am non-binary. I have always been non-binary. I feel like there will never be any crossing from one side to another when it comes to my gender. I'm not crossing any boundaries. My identity is static. There is no change whatsoever. The only thing that's changing, and this is the only thing that I'm trying to bring about with what other people call transition, is being true to myself and making others aware of who I am, raising awareness in society about the fact that I am non-binary. I'm not changing genders. I'm not crossing from one gender, my assigned gender, which I never in fact was, to the gender that I am. I just am, have always been, always will be non-binary. And so the word transition I don't feel like it applies to my situation. The only reason why I'm using it is because it's what everyone else uses. And yeah, I want people to be able to find this video, and yeah, that's the only reason why I'm using transition. Also, I'd like to throw out a warning that in this video there might be some TMI moments or moments when I give out maybe a bit too much information And there might be some times when I talk about bodily stuff that may be dysphoria inducing for some people. I will try to include warnings in the video before I start talking about this kinds of stuff. But yeah, I'll try my best. Sorry if I miss a few points. First, let's talk about social transitioning. What could that potentially involve? And I'm going to speak generally, and this is by no means a comprehensive list, but social transition could potentially involve coming out to people, be it at work or family, or it can involve changing your gender marker on official documents like your driver's license, birth certificate, passport, changing your name on official documents, changing the bathrooms that you use, voice training, working on social etiquette and mannerisms that people consider to be one gender or another, which is bullshit, but still. And it could also involve changing your appearance. And yes, appearance and gender identity are two separate things. However, the fact remains that some people do change their appearance to correspond with their gender identity, to better reflect who they are and express who they are. And sometimes people change their appearance to deter people from misgendering them. Because even though appearance and gender identity are two separate things, society often doesn't treat them as such. As for me personally, I'm non-binary, so several of the things that I just mentioned either don't apply to me at all, or they're a gray area where regardless of what I do, I'm going to be misgendered anyway because, society doesn't even acknowledge the fact that my gender even exists. So, yeah. Anyway, that aside, I want to change my name legally. Like, so bad. If I could, I would have changed it months and months ago and everyone would already call me Vesper because being referred to by my current legal name has begun to bother me more and more and more. It's like the very name itself has become a gendered pronoun. So when people call me by that name, they're misgendering me, even though I know full well that names do not have genders, so they're not at all gendering me just by calling me a name. But it still feels that way, and I just don't want to be called by that name anymore. The only thing stopping me from having already legally changed my name is the fact that I apparently have to be physically present in Nevada, my U.S. state of residency, on paper. I haven't lived there in years. I have to physically be present in Nevada to change my name because there is the potential that I will have to appear in court. And there's no way that I can do that because I can never get the time needed off work to be present in Nevada for that long. Because, they don't even give you like a set date far in advance enough for me to book tickets and arrange time off work and shit like that. So the name change is another thing that has to wait until I'm back in America for a more significant amount of time than just a week vacation. Coming out is extremely difficult. As I kind of already mentioned, I've been outed to my mom, and that hasn't really changed much of anything. Coming out at work is pretty much impossible. One, because my employer wouldn't let me. I'm pretty sure I haven't talked to them about it, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't because it would be potentially damaging to the company image, which is also important to Japanese businesses. And even if I could or did, my younger students just wouldn't understand or get it. Plus, their parents may take issue with my gender or the thought that there's more than two genders and me putting that in their kid's head. I don't know. On top of all of that, I have no legal protection should I come out and my employer decide to fire me, because I work for a small family-owned company that is not part of any union or anything, and as far as I know, there are no national laws, protections protecting trans people from, being fired in the workplace purely for being trans. Even though I don't ID as trans, that's what I would be lumped under in Japan and pretty much everywhere. My situation at work affects my situation outside of work because, you never know when those two worlds might collide, because someone from the workplace meets someone who's not from the workplace that you know in your personal life, and then, they each know you by a different name, and then things get messy. And so, yeah, I introduce myself from the start as Vesper when I can outside of work, but I have to be cautious about that, and I don't bring gender into it at all. I just tell them my name's Vesper, because it is. There's no point in changing my gender marker anywhere on anything, because there's no option that would not be me misgendering myself. Similarly, there's no point in me changing the restroom that I use unless for some reason in the future using a particular restroom becomes dangerous for me. And using gender-neutral restrooms is also difficult for me here in Japan, because when they exist, they're not common. They're usually aimed at elderly and disabled people, and so those bathrooms have special provisions in them to help those people. And so I would feel like such a piece of shit if I used one of those rare bathrooms and then I open the door and come out to see an elderly person who, can't use the other bathrooms, waiting for me to get out of the one bathroom that they really need to use. And this may seem really silly and stupid, but in Japan, especially in my area, there are so many elderly people and people who need those bathrooms that I feel like it would be fucked up for me, an able-bodied person, to use up their space. And yeah, so I don't. In terms of voice training, that's something I have been half-assedly kind of trying to work on in the privacy of my own apartment, and I hope to continue that in 2015. But I can't even, use anything but my natural voice outside of my apartment, because I feel like it'd be awkward and I'm not even anywhere near being good enough for other people to hear. And in terms of social etiquette and mannerisms, I don't feel like I need to change any of that at the moment. So I guess that's all for my social transition. Okay, so let's talk about medical or physical transitioning and what that could potentially entail. So again, I'm speaking generally. This is not a comprehensive list, but medical or physical transition could entail things like hormone replacement therapy, also known as HRT. It could entail top surgery or facial feminization or genital reconstruction surgery. This is also sometimes referred to as SRS, or sex reassignment surgery, or gender reassignment surgery, but I don't personally care for either of those two terms. There's also hysterectomies or hair removal, lots of other things that are medical or, medical related. First off, let's talk about genital reconstruction surgery. Never gonna happen for me, because I sure as hell do not want a penis. And while I don't particularly want a vagina either, it's easy to ignore the fact that I have one because they are not visible. Aside from menstruation, I can completely forget the fact that I even have genitalia. And yeah, if I was going to get a surgery, it would probably be, I guess you'd call it sex nullification surgery or something like that, but such a surgery doesn't even exist. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of fortunate in that I'm asexual and sex indifferent. So, genitalia, yeah. I don't fucking need them. And I can pretend that I don't have any. And yeah, if I must acknowledge the fact that they're there, it's easy for me to not associate sexuality or sex with genitals because sex isn't a thing that I care about or do. On the other hand, there's also the fact that I have a uterus and ovaries and other such internal organs. And my body will not let me forget the fact that I have those. And yeah, they need to get the fuck out because they ruin my life every month, once a month. But on top of that, I also have concerns about cancer. And before I say anything else, yes, I have to admit, and I know that there is no proof that cancer is at all hereditary, but so many people in my family have had cancer in some form or another, and so even if it's not proven to be hereditary, it's something that's on my mind. And on top of this, my mom, I guess like 10 years ago, had ovarian cysts, and she had a partial hysterectomy because of that. Then years later, there were further complications and she ended up having a total hysterectomy. And I know, once again, this may not at all be connected, and it probably isn't, but I myself have had an abnormal pap smear. And even though it turned out to be nothing, it was still a wake-up call. What if in the future I was to get ovarian cancer or uterine cancer or anything like that? That would be the ultimate of ironies if my life was put in danger because of organs that I never wanted nor needed in the first place. So, yes, I'm paranoid. And I'm probably being stupid, but that's one more reason on top of other reasons why I want that shit gone. As for top surgery, my feelings about top surgery are more complex. But this video is already getting long, so I'm going to try to just give you the gist of it. So, I don't like to think about my body parts in terms of gender. I prefer to not use gendered words when thinking about my chest. So, I view my chest as just a chest. Everyone has a chest, but mine happens to have bags of fat on it. And those bags of fat feel really weird, but those bags of fat look great on other people. Wonderful. Oh. But on me, they feel out of place. And as long as I don't see or feel them, I'm okay. But when I know they're there, it's just kind of awkward and strange, and yeah. On top of that, if other people see my chest, like they're not even staring at my chest, I just in my head, because if I'm not wearing a binder, I feel like there's more tension on my chest even if it's not there. If I know that other people see my chest, I feel I might as well be naked and people are seeing other parts of me that they shouldn't be seeing, because just in seeing my chest, it dictates in their head how to treat me and how to respond to me, and it brings about all these assumptions that make me incredibly uncomfortable. And yeah, binders suck. I don't like binding. However, it's an inexpensive and uninvasive solution, temporary solution to the problem. So, at the time being, my binder is okay. I'm okay. I'm not so desperate to get rid of the bags on my chest as I am to get rid of the organs that fuck me up every month. That said, just like when talking about a hysterectomy, in the back of my mind, when thinking about my chest, is the thought of cancer. And this is me being paranoid again, because, yeah. I have no real reason to be so worried about this, but my mom, again, who has already been diagnosed with another cancer, is now being tested for breast cancer because of stuff, and so breast cancer is on my mind too. And yeah, my chest, which have bags of fat on them, and I don't like using words like breast to describe them. My chest has one more bodily thing on it that my body can use against me in the future, and I'd like to not have it there just in case. HRT, I am so torn about this. On one hand, I am very much interested in pursuing a low dosage of hormones because I really want to deepen my voice. I have a lot of dysphoria surrounding my voice to the point of not wanting to rewatch my own videos because I can't stand my voice. And I also would like to alter some physical features that I have. However, I am scared, I am terrified of some of the other things that come along with HRT, like facial hair. Facial hair. Seriously, if I were to ever be on HRT and I were to develop facial hair, it would be as dysphoric for me as menstruation. Maybe even more so because, I've dealt with menstruation for a while now, but facial hair, I don't know. I just can't handle the thought of myself having facial hair. And seriously, that is the number one thing, as stupid as that may sound, stopping me from looking into HRT is facial hair. And I know some people don't even develop facial hair, but looking at my dad and my brother tells me that I possibly would, and I can't stand it. On top of that, I am also really afraid of being perceived as a black male. Because let's face it, being perceived as a black male can be fucking dangerous. And if you don't think so, you're in fucking denial and you are out of touch with reality. And it's not even just being perceived as a black male. I don't know how I would handle being perceived and treated as male by society in general. Because I am not male. I'm not male. And I'm not female either. However, I have 29 years of life experience being treated as female. I can cope to some regard as being treated like female. But being treated like male, that's like foreign territory, and it is totally terrifying, and I don't know if I can handle that. So my thoughts on HRT are literally all over the place. I want it, but I don't want it. Either way, I have so much time to think about it, so there you go. I'll be thinking about it. I guess that about covers all my plans for transitioning in terms of social, medical, and physical stuff at the moment. And yeah, as I said in the beginning of this video, all of these things are running through my head, and regardless of what decision I come to and how much I want to do or pursue certain things, I can't because of my current situation. And I can only hope that I can hang on until 2017 and I can get the funding needed to pursue these things in 2017, because if I can get the funding when 2017 comes, oh my god, there's going to be so much shit happening. But yeah, it's really, really difficult wanting things and being so uncomfortable in certain things, but not being able to do anything about it. And so instead of focusing on my transition, I'm trying to steer my focus to finances because I'm really shit at finances. And finances are what is keeping me in this situation. So if I focus on finances and saving money, that will in turn enable me to pursue things in the future. And so, yeah, I'm possibly unhealthily focusing on finances because I'm stressing myself out so bad about it, but that's how I'm coping right now. Money, money, money. Focus on saving money. God damn it. This year I'll do it. I swear I will because I can't afford to fail another New Year's resolution. This will be like the 10th year of trying to save money. Anyway, this video has gotten so long. Anyone who's still watching, who's made it this far, you are fucking amazing. Thank you. I'd love to hear about other people's experiences in regards to their journey and transitioning, especially those of you who are non-binary or genderqueer. I'd love to hear your experiences, your stories, your hopes, how you're coping with stuff. I hope all of you have a happy new year, happy holidays, and I'll see you later. Bye.